Hi, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to go over some neighborhoods in Philadelphia that are not necessarily the greatest. In honesty, I had put down as these are the worst neighborhoods in Philadelphia, which in general, in light of everything that's going on, especially with the racial and civic discord throughout the nation, in essence throughout the world, I don't really want to pinpoint and say that these neighborhoods that I'm going to say are considered the worst neighborhoods in the city. In honesty, these neighborhoods may not necessarily be the greatest neighborhoods to live in. I wouldn't even say to live in, because there's some people that do live in these neighborhoods, but there's a lot of opportunity in these neighborhoods to make them better so that everybody has access to having good homes and have access to great opportunities that some people just may not be able to experience. So I don't want to say that these are the worst neighborhoods. I would say that these are definitely neighborhoods that could definitely be better and provide better opportunities. Now, I just want to mention that these are seven. I have 7 on my list. So these are based on crime rate and unemployment rate. These I don't put in demographics. I will have a resource down below where if you are looking to move to Philadelphia and you're looking into where neighborhoods to, for one, live in or as well as invest in, these neighborhoods are great investment areas. However, like I said, they can become better to provide opportunities to everybody who lives in these areas. So stay tuned. Now, like I said, as a disclaimer, these are not necessarily the worst areas to live in. So for number 7 number 7 on this list is Huntington and Carroll Park. Huntington and Carroll Park are located in West Philadelphia. And where it is in West Philadelphia is that you can easily get in and out of the city. It is a great area where a lot of people like to move to be able to have access in and out of the city. Now, you have major streets such as 52nd Street, which runs through West Philadelphia and into Southwest Philly. And you have, and 52nd Street does run into Huntington, which is a neighborhood, obviously. And what I know about Huntington is basically there is like 2 major streets, well, actually 3 or 4, but if you're riding through West Philly, you have 52nd Street, which is basically the main route that has a lot of small businesses all throughout. The buses run through there, and you can intersect with Haverford Avenue, which will take you up into Carroll Park. Now, Carroll Park is next to Huntington, and the trolley runs mainly on Girard Avenue, which is also another major route. And there is an intersection in is that Huntington? Well, that part of West Philly, where there is a lot of businesses there, small businesses that do business in the area. Now, the trolley runs along Girard Avenue, and that is the number 10. And Carroll Park is right next to Huntington, and that's named after, there is a park named Carroll Park. Now, the approximate population in the area is 35,680 people that live in the area. the median income is around $28,706, and the median home value is $68,369. And the unemployment rate is 8.9. So there is unemployment there. It is pretty low compared to other areas, but a lot of people that live in the area, they do work. They work all throughout the city. They live in the city and work throughout. Whether they work as a lot of people that live in the city, you could work for the city of Philadelphia, where it is a rule that you have to live in the city of Philadelphia in order to become a civil employee, to be an employee of the city of Philadelphia. You have to live in the city. Now, so that is that where it comes to Huntington and Carroll Park. Now, for housing, it's great for basically investment, as well as families that live there. All these areas that I'm going to outline, there are families that have been living there for generations, and people do buy in these areas. However, they're mostly rentals, and they can be more on the heavier on the rental side of things, where the area is more tenant heavy than there are homeowners. So in this area, I've been seeing that a lot of people have been coming in and basically renovating the homes, buying the homes for within less than $100,000, average 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house, and renovating them, and either flipping them to sell to a home buyer, or they are flipping them and holding them as great rentals. Because in West Philly, you can easily get in and out of the city. You can get to Upper Darby very quickly. You can just hop on 63rd Street and take that to Market Street, and then when you make that right on Market Street, you're in Upper Darby. And as well as you could also take 63rd Street and go the other way towards City Line Avenue, and you can also do your shopping out there as well. The number 6 on my list is Harrogate. Now, Harrogate is in North Philadelphia. It's right by Temple University, where it's definitely one of the major universities that are, one of many different universities throughout the city, but Temple University is definitely more towards the northern part of Philadelphia. And it is right by the Pearl Theater, which is... The Pearl is a major theater that's there where you can watch movies. It's a big it's a big area. It's a big commercial district where you definitely have where I'm talking about the Pearl is definitely along Broad Street and I believe Cecil B. Moore, where they intersect. Because the train station right there by Temple is Cecil B. Moore. That's the Cecil B. Moore stop, and that's Temple University. So where the Pearl is, and I say the Pearl because I know it for the theater, but in that area you have the Fresh Grocer. You also have Chipotle, Qdoba. You have Wendy's. You have the Barnes and Noble, where it's mostly the shops for students for Temple University students, and it's a big area in the community that's right there, and as well as is the main shopping area. Now the population is 17,456, and the median income is 23,871, and the median home value is 48,963. Now, I would like to insert in here that although the median income is 48,000, there definitely has been a lot of renovations and a lot of work in the Temple area, especially in Hollowgate, because Hollowgate is right there, right by Temple University. And when you're in that hub of Temple University, there is, you definitely have a lot of new construction and a lot of and a lot of renovation in those areas for the Temple students. Now, when you go further out into the areas where you get more into the neighborhood, that's where you see the homes are not in, that are not, definitely not in the greatest condition. And again, a lot of people go in, a lot of investors, they go there and they basically rehab the homes, and they either flip it for another investor or they really flip it for themselves. So they flip it so that the students can basically live in, and they basically make money off of, like, with the students, because it's college students, it's a college town, it's a college area. So you have a lot of students that you know that you're getting your rent, and you can definitely charge the premium for rent because you have because you have students that live in the area. So if you're looking to invest in this area, or even as a parent that is having a student that has a student that's living there, I've seen parents basically buy the homes for their student, and then their student, or at least the student, basically buys the home, and then they fix it up for the student, and then he or she can have their roommates, and that student collects rent, and then you can keep it as an asset for future years. So that's Hollowgate. Number 5 is Allegheny West. Allegheny West is a part of North Philly as well. It is mostly on the, if I'm getting my geography right, Allegheny West is named after the association formed by Pep Boys and the Tasty Baking Company. And that is located right off of, that's located south of another area which I will cover, which is Tioga Nicetown. And it's it's not that far from East Falls. So you're pretty close to Route 1 when you're in Allegheny West. So we have the Pep Boys, and we have the Tasty Baking Company, where we get our tasty cakes from. So, and when you're driving, you will sometimes see the Pep Boys water tower, and then if you're driving, you'll also see a big giant apple pie for the Tasty Baking Company. It's also an industrial area too. There's also different there used to be industrial factories in that area, but they've been abandoned and they're basically condemned. I think in the moving on, there may be some renovation or some plans for those abandoned factories, but I'm not sure about that. So Allegheny West, interestingly, it had suffered because of the industrial decline and disinvestment in the area. And of course, that was probably due to, of course, when white flight that had happened years ago. And of course, when you had more African Americans, Black people moving into the area, of course, there's been the industrial decline and the disinvestment in the area, and that's why the area does go down. The population in that area is 18,676. Median income is 25,196, and the median home valuation is 48,477. Now, this area is Allegheny West. It has been booming where it comes to commercial investment. There's definitely commercial major brands that are there. That's we have the ShopRite and the we have a McDonald's and several restaurants, well, major chain restaurants that are in the area. So Allegheny West, I would say that Allegheny West is definitely an area where you can invest in. Of course, there's definitely families in the area. So now number 4 is Fair Hill. Fair Hill is located in North Philadelphia on the east side. It is considered, which I didn't know, is the center of the Philadelphia Badlands, which I'm not too sure about, but okay. But that's a fact right there. The population in this area is 17,442. The median income is 16,728. Unemployment is 27.22%, which is pretty high. And the median house income is 51,578. So if I know anything about Fair Hill, there definitely needs to be more opportunity in this area for jobs, and not only jobs, but just opportunities for people to be able to get to work and to have opportunities where they can get to better education there, and where we are the economic situation could definitely rise. I don't think there's too many commercial opportunities in the area. There is some small businesses, but definitely there could be supported even more, obviously, where we can definitely put more investment in this area so that it could definitely be boosted up. Number 3 on the list is Strawberry Mansion. Now, Strawberry Mansion is east of Fairmount Park and is in North Philly. It's right by the river, by the Schuylkill River. You can actually get to West Philly pretty quickly when you take the Strawberry Mansion Bridge, when you're coming off of Ridge Avenue, and you just kind of ride through that park by the Mann Center. There is a Mann Center part in Strawberry Mansion, and you can easily get into West Philly from that way. The population is 19,690. The median income is 31,085, and the median home value is 31,885, and the unemployment rate is 20.95%. So again, I seen that in Strawberry Mansion, there has been some renovations and some like just basically some renovations to the homes in the area. The homes are big. You have like the 3-story row homes that are there. So I'm seeing that Temple area has definitely been expanding into Strawberry Mansion, and there is definitely a lot of opportunity. There's starting to become some opportunity in the area. Huntington Park is number 2. Now, Huntington Park is named, obviously, it is named after, well, we call it Huntington Park in Philadelphia. It's actually Hunting Park. But I say it with my Philadelphia accent, Huntington Park, which is in North Philadelphia, and it is next to Nicetown. And it's also like where I live. It's not that far from where I live. It is actually right over Route 1, on the Roosevelt Boulevard. It's like you can make that right if you're coming from 76, and you're going onto the ramp to Roosevelt Boulevard. It's actually the first light when you travel that road all the way down, and you make that first light on the right. That is Huntington Park area. Now, it is accessible to Broad Street and the Broad Street line. It is it's not that far. Obviously, Broad Street is like right there. When you're in Huntington Park, it's probably about like, I don't know, like 10 blocks, 10, 15 blocks from the park. If even, I don't even think it's even that far. It's probably about like 2 or 3 blocks away. Um, where did I get 10 from? But anyway, the park is pretty big. So it's, if you're coming from like the top of the park, you're not that far from Broad Street. Now, the population is 16,371. The median income is 20,019. Unemployment is 20.5%. It is definitely great for investing. I've seen that people have invested in this area, and that, you know, you can definitely, and there's always families looking for more affordable housing. The housing has been more affordable in this area, even though the area isn't all that great. The park is where people like to barbecue, sit, chat, and play baseball. I've come, like, especially it's summer now, and throughout the day you'll see people like just park on the sides of the road in Huntington Park and just sit and chat. They just, all day long people will do that. People play, or at least in the evening hours. I shouldn't even say all day long, but there'll be folks that like to unwind and just sit in the park. And then there's definitely baseball games. There's been, I think there's been some basketball games. No, not basketball. No, there's definitely basketball. I'm just thinking of football. And of course there's been barbecuing in the area as well. I had a family function in that area, and you know, it was fine. Number one is Tioga and Nicetown. Now, Tioga and Nicetown is number one. It's, if you Google Nicetown, very recently there has been a shooting where I think that they had where the guy was about to be served a warrant, and then he just started shooting out, and you know, it was all over the news like several months ago. That was there. Nicetown is not that far from Huntington Park, and it's in these areas that I have spoken about. It's not that far from these areas that I have spoken about. And I remember in Nicetown that day, where, and I don't live in Nicetown. It's actually not that far from me. That day when I was picking up my kids from school, that all down Broad Street, boom, 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 like a whole bunch of cop cars, just a whole bunch of cop cars. And that's just the one off of, you know, that doesn't always happen where you have a national story breakout. But you know what, it did happen, and if you Google it, it's right there on Wikipedia, so I'll address it. But now Tioga and Nicetown consists of two smaller, older neighborhoods, which is Tioga and Nicetown. So it basically merges into one, and the population in the area is 17,095. Median income is 24,760, and the unemployment rate is 21.94%. It's definitely a great place to invest. I did have a listing in that area, and the houses are big. They're really nice, and they're very big. It was a single family house, and I think on the other side of the twin, it was a twin house, and on the other side of the twin was actually a duplex. So if you get one of those bigger houses, and they're big, they're extremely big, and you could definitely you can possibly convert them into 3-bedroom homes. Like, no, not 3-bedroom, but you can definitely convert them into a duplex or even a triplex, because they're so big. And there are 3 bedrooms. There's obviously there's obviously 3, 4, 6 bedrooms in the area, in 3-story houses. Um, but anyway, it's mostly a great place to invest. Mostly, there's definitely mostly renters in the area. Again, there's definitely families that live there like for several generations, but it's definitely one of those areas that is definitely um that is definitely more tenant occupied, as a tenant occupied neighborhood, than it is a homeowner occupied neighborhood. And the median house income is 58,569. So these 7 areas and 7 neighborhoods in Philadelphia, they could definitely be a source of opportunity. And opportunity not just for social economic reasons, but for housing and for schooling, and opportunities where people can get more educated and find out how to get their first home, and as well as to start investing in these areas. Yes, the margin, you may be able to rent at a lower price, but there's always people looking for places that are definitely affordable. And these areas have, from what I found, that a lot of people, like as home prices have been rising in other areas, some people are starting to feel priced out. So people are moving more towards the northern part, like going down. And I'm just thinking, as a Broad Street, that people are more moving down Broad Street, where you could get affordable housing. And I'm just saying, not just for purchasing a house, but just to rent a home. Whereas the average price to rent a home is probably about like 12 to 15,000, like 12 to 15,000, 12 to 1,500, I should say. Excuse me. To rent in Philadelphia, where the average is. You can, a lot of people like to try and pay rent for less than 1,000. But yes, it's more going towards these areas, and they definitely need opportunities, and these areas can definitely be changed around. It just, and I mean, obviously, housing has definitely been a hard issue, and especially a harmful issue to the African American community. And I believe that if we turn these neighborhoods around, however, like just to be able to get more money funneled into these areas to help people that live in these areas, could go a long way and could help build up the community better. So all that to say, there's definitely good parts about these areas. There definitely they all have their culture. They all have their history. And if you look online, you'll even find out that I think Matt, like one of the famous news anchors that's on, I forget his name, he's from Tioga, Nicetown. He was born and raised there. So, I mean, these areas definitely have a lot of history, and for Philadelphia, there is, obviously we have the Rittenhouse Square, and we also have Chestnut Hill, we have Mount Airy, we have all the great areas. However, that's one part of Philadelphia that we know that, yes, is easily marketable. However, we have other parts of Philadelphia where they can definitely be marketable, but there needs to be more change and more opportunities in these areas. So again, but if anything, that's the end of my video. That's the end of my my video, and going off on a tangent. I'm just very passionate that I just want to help my community, and I would love to see these homes and see these areas become great as they once were before. So on that note, have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video.